Well, good afternoon. It is Wednesday afternoon late. Normally, we produce our show, Residents First, on Sundays, but because of an article that I read yesterday, we're dropping a little early this week. In fact, we won't have a Sunday program. Today's program, brought to you by Paul Gable, is a bombshell that came out yesterday. And when I opened it, I almost fell out of my chair. What you talk about, Paul, in your article, and by the way, for those of you that don't know, Paul Gable is the publisher of the Grand Strand Daily, and he doesn't like praise and accolades, but he's probably the best, and he's the best in Oregon County, maybe the best in the state. This investigative journalism was unparalleled. It's just, you've researched the heck out of this, and you've really brought out some things. And you talk about the dark money in Horry County politics. But actually, this is a state issue and it's a national issue.
Oh, my goodness, yes. What the point of the dark money in Horry County, we're just starting to see these opaque PACs show up. But no, it all began back in right after 2010 when they had the Citizens United decision, the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court decided that corporations were actually people. I don't know what they eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but nevertheless. And that money was speech. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
So that opened up all these PACs to show. And let me say one thing about money being speech, okay? If money is truly speech, and you've got at least 5 justices on the Supreme Court that believe that, okay? Then I don't know why a politician running for office, and I don't care what office it is, doesn't stand him or part of his campaign staff outside of polling booths and just hand out $50 bills to everybody that's coming in. If money is speech, it's saying vote for me. Vote for me. I think that's still illegal in this country. So money is really not speech, but they tried to make an excuse to get a lot of money in there.
Well, not everybody is really what I call a politico, and they don't know all these inside people. So we're going to take this story, and I'm going to ask questions. I don't normally take notes, but folks, this is such a moving, multifaceted piece of information that I had to take notes.
Let me do a little intro into what we're going to talk about. What really kind of piqued my interest into looking into any of this, doing any of the research or getting started, okay? Well, it began 2 years ago with the John Goldman, Luke Rankin Senate race, when this thing called the American Industry Project was running negative ads about Goldman on TV and putting out mail pieces and stuff like that. So we tracked that down, the American Industry Project, and well, I'm sure we'll talk about that while we're in here. But so this year in the county council chairman race, this group called Our American Century started to run towards the end of the campaign. They started to run what they could negatively on Johnny Gardner, and I said, Our American Century, this is another one of these groups. I'm gonna look into this a little bit, and I look into Our American Century, and I find out that Our American Century played heavily in the 2020 presidential election. I'm saying to myself, now wait a minute, what in the heck is a PAC that played heavy in the presidential election, played heavy in different senatorial races, played heavy in some congressional races? What are they doing down here in the county council chairman race? What is going on here? Why is this group here? So that's what started it.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions, and you can say, David, I have sources to protect or whatever, or
well, I won't mention any sources that.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So this guy right here, who's Robert Cahaly? Is he a Trump pollster like the marketing says? Is that what he really is?
Well, he started out as he's a graduate of USC.
That's the University of South Carolina, not Southern California.
Not Southern Cal, no.
Right.
The University of South Carolina. He started out in that kind of young Republican wave, and he became a political operative. I mean, he's run campaigns. He ran John Rhodes' last campaign for mayor. He ran here I am. I'm going to draw a blank. But he's run different campaigns in this county. He's not new to the county. He's certainly not new to the state. He's actually new more on the federal scene, where he claimed he had some kind of secret polling
in 2016.
Yeah, routine that predicted the Trump victory, and he got him parlayed that into going on to Fox News and stuff and talking about himself, and that's all fine. I mean, he also used that same magic formula in 2020 and predicted a Trump victory, so he's 1 for 2. So
Okay, so
as a pollster goes, that's all right, but it doesn't make you magic.
Well, let me ask you this. Is he just a pollster, as the
No.
marketing says?
No.
He's a little more than that.
Yeah.
So you talked about the SIP and the AIP. The SIP, folks, is the South Carolina Industry Project. The AIP is the American Industry Project. Paul, what are they? Tell us who they are.
Who are they? They are, they're a political action committee that is supposedly out of Washington, D.C., but did list in 2018 when they were formed to help McMaster win the 2018 nomination.
That was when he was running against Templeton?
Yeah, that's when, and they were formed to run negative stuff on Catherine Templeton, which they did.
Yeah, that's the first time I heard of them, by the way, when they basically bashed Catherine Templeton with a news video footage that we did. They took it and they put it in their campaign piece, and they basically destroyed her with it.
Well, they did their best to come out real negative on her, and it worked, and they were formed for that. And Tyler Servant, one of our county councilmen here, was named as, on Form 990 filings with the IRS, he was named as the president of the American Industry Project.
And he's an Horry County councilman.
Well, he is.
And he's
comes from
also
District 5.
I'm just telling these guys.
Oh, okay.
And he's also best friends with Henry McMaster's son, which is neither here nor there, but he just is.
Well, there's that, and also he has used Cahaly as his political consultant on his campaigns.
Would you say he's close to Robert Cahaly or very close?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what their relationship is. All I know is that he hired Cahaly to run him for county council in 2014, and he hired Cahaly when we had what was it, District 106 open up in Horry County, and when Nelson Hardwick resigned. So Tyler was a year into being a county councilman, and he decided to run for that.
That was against Russell Fry.
Russell Fry won that race,
And,
but Cahaly ran that campaign for him.
Well, there was also a guy named Michael Melendez. He claims he was Cahaly's top general running the campaign.
Well, he claims that he was he worked on the Tyler Servant House
Campaign.
District race.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Now, but where is Michael Melendez today?
well, we're going to get there. Tell me this. Who are Ace Tomato Enterprises and Campaign Services?
They're both Cahaly entities.
Are they LLCs? Are they? Do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't
They're
know whether-
organizations.
I tend to think most of them are LLCs.
Okay.
Although they could actually be real, or they could be set up as corporations too. Ace Tomato Enterprises, Campaign Services, Gadsden and Green, and a Trafalgar Group, and Bonnie Blue Communications or Public Relations or whatever it's called. Those 5 at least are Cahaly companies.
Okay. Now, what is FLAG? And we'll talk. The acronym FLAG stands for
Foundation for Law and Government.
So the Foundation for Law and Government.
And this is not the Michael Knight one from Knight Rider. Now this is.
Okay, according to IRS 990 filings by FLAG, the Foundation for Law and Government, management functions for FLAG are outsourced to Gadsden and Green, the name you just mentioned. Tell us about Gadsden and Green. How are they associated to Cahaly? And tell us about
Cahaly
FLAG.
owns it. Cahaly set up a bunch of different corporations or entities. Not PACs, not necessarily
He said
PACs now.
entities.
I think Gadsden and Green is set up to be some kind of overall management thing for PACs, and Ace Tomato Enterprises is supposedly some kind of marketing thing, and the Trafalgar Group was that's his, I guess, biggest one in Atlanta, and that's where if it
Is Ace Tomatoes in Atlanta?
Oh, they're all in Atlanta.
They're all in Atlanta. Okay, just get that, folks. Just so you know, Atlanta is 6 hours from Myrtle Beach. It's just across. It's not very far from South Carolina. It's just up the road.
Let's put it this way: they're all centered there on one person, and that's Robert Cahaly. I mean, come on.
Okay.
That's the deal. And you got Bonnie Blue Marketing, another one. Ace Tomato Enterprises. Again, that's not the one that was in Spies Like Us. That
right.
It seems like Cahaly likes movies.
He does.
TV
so
shows.
Tell me about this with Flag.
It's a foundation for law and government.
Who heads that supposedly?
Not supposedly. Bruce Bannister is listed as the head.
There's a name. Now, Bruce Bannister, what else is he known for? What else does he do?
Well, he's in the South Carolina House of Representatives, and back in the days when Bobby Harrell was the Speaker of the South Carolina House of Representatives, Bannister was the House Majority Leader.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Which would be the second in command of the Republican caucus to Bobby Harrell, so to speak. And then when Bobby Harrell got in trouble with his leadership PAC, when he was taking money out of that to fix his airplane and stuff.
So this was a campaign ethics problem that Bobby Harrell had.
Big one.
You'll hear
well,
that.
And not only that, there was some criminal element to the Bobby Harrell case. It wasn't just ethics that brought him down, because there's really no criminal. There's no criminal problem with an ethics violation. All an ethics violation is a fine. It's a civil violation, right? There's no meat in South Carolina's ethics law. If you break the ethics law, you ain't going to go to jail or something like that.
So just to connect the dots, when Bobby Harrell became under a cloud, for some reason Alan Wilson recused himself and appointed a special prosecutor.
Well, that's because they all used the Quins.
Oh, the Quinn, another name. Let's talk about that name, because we're connecting a lot of dots here. So the Quins is a political is a political consulting group that represented not only Bobby Harrell, he also represented a guy who was Attorney General. Is that right?
Wilson and Wilson's father that was in Congress, and
okay,
and Henry, as I recall.
Well, we may just be able, through a guy named through a guy named Luke Rankin, to connect the Quins.
Well, the Quins, yeah, they ran Rankin stuff.
And Cahaly ran these ads you're talking about, these PAC ads.
Yeah, that was really interesting. For some reason, they farmed that out, and if you notice in the story I wrote, I called them. They become PACs for hire.
PACs for hire. I love that term.
And I view them as they're really an entity. There's a book that sits on some shelf that has a corporate book that has created the American Industry Project. So it's a book sitting on a shelf someplace. It's an LLC, and well, we need this. We got to funnel some money into it because we want to come out. And look. The Grand Strand Business Alliance does the same thing with things like Citizens for Conservative Values. This isn't a new trick or anything. I mean, it's been used for years,
right?
To try and give the steps away. But so they had this American Industry Project. Now, yes, the Quins are known for Henry and Wilson and Luke Rankin, and they were certainly running. Quins, even the Quins are out of.
So
Richard
far,
and his son are out of business, but the daughters are running the operation
must change
now. Yeah.
So far we see the AIP and the SCIP operating with the Quins, with Harrell, with Rankin. We're going to draw out a few more with Bannister.
And let's say that Bannister used Cahaly as a political consultant.
So wait a minute, Bruce Bannister, South Carolina rep. His political consultant is Robert Cahaly.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is track back on his ethics reports.
Well, let's move forward.
But you asked about the Rankin campaign. I think they needed some entity that was basically unknown, and so they said, look, we got they bundled X amount of dollars that we'll donate to a PAC. Have you got a PAC sitting on a shelf somewhere that can handle this and be the front man for running the ads? And so I think that's what happened.
Okay. So, speaking of PACs, and you spoke about this American
Industry project.
Our American Century.
Oh, our American. But
What
you
is
asked
the-
me about FLAG and the Foundation for Law and Government. Bannister heads that. Now, a key element here is that when you look at the 990 filings, the IRS 990 forms for non-profits, right? When you look at their filings, you see that in 2018, when they did the thing against Catherine Templeton for Henry, and then in 2020, when they did the thing against John Goldman for Luke Rankin, the funds that the American Industry Project, the only funds that came in the American Industry Project that year came from the Foundation for Law and Government PAC.
So let me understand this. I give money to a PAC called Foundation for Law and Government because I really care about law and government, and I'm a donor. Let's say I give a couple of $1 million, and then somebody moves money from that PAC into this this AIP PAC. So FLAG's money that I gave, now they write a check, this PAC writes a check to that PAC.
That's right.
Is that accurate?
That's exactly accurate.
Okay. So tell me about the GEAUX PAC.
The Go PAC. That was originally founded in Louisiana by the names that appear on that are what was it? Michael Thompson.
Michael Thompson at the time was a state rep in South
Carolina.
Carolina.
And Cahaly ran his campaigns.
And hold on, let me make sure I get this right. Michael Thompson is a guy who was in office at the time, and Cahaly was managing his campaign.
Cahaly, well, that was one of the many campaigns that Cahaly ran.
And Thompson was a very instrumental part in setting together a Go PAC.
No, I don't think he was. He was listed as the director of the PAC.
Okay, so he's the director.
Yeah. Now, all right.
From its formation.
All right, let's get into in its formation back in 2012. Yes, he was listed as the director. Now, also listed on that was Edward Kusar, who at one time worked for Cahaly and then set up the Black Republican PAC, and may still have some association with Cahaly. But all you have to do is go to Kusar's LinkedIn and you see where he lists Trafalgar as one of his things, or maybe it's Bonnie Blue, but
right.
He worked with Cahaly. You have Hannah Pickle, who is in Louisiana. She's listed as one of the officers of the Go PAC, and she has association with Cahaly. In fact, you can see a picture of her and a girl called Julie Emerson yucking it up with Cahaly at one of the Republican National Conventions. I think it was 2012. I think it was I don't think it was the 2016 one. I think it was the 2012 one. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, everybody knows each other. Okay?
But there's clearly a South Carolina to Louisiana connection.
Well, there's certainly, yes, there is certainly that, because you got a state rep from South Carolina.
And his name again is, just so they know,
Michael Thompson.
Michael Thompson.
Who is supposedly the head man of the Go PAC, or at least that's the way it's listed on the organization papers. The Go PAC is initially set up in New Orleans in the same suite of offices that Julie Emerson had. Same address, same suite of office, same everything. Okay, so I mean, again, it's a book on a shelf someplace.
Okay.
A corporate book on a shelf. It's not a real entity.
Folks, right now, I'm going to play for you this video recording. I actually called Mr. Thompson. I wanted to know how the PAC got formed, and I wanted to know what exactly happened here. And here's what he said.
Hello? This call is being recorded.
Yes, I'm trying to get a hold of Michael Dwayne Thompson.
Speaking.
Hey, Michael, my name is David Hucks. I'm a reporter with Myrtle Beach FC News in Myrtle Beach FC. I wanted to talk with you about the GEAU PAC that you helped found a few years back. Are you familiar with this PAC?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So have you listed as the agent or founder of this PAC? Is that not accurate?
When was this?
Let's see, the Go PAC. Go PAC. Let's see, statement of organization.
Can you hold on? Can you hold on 1 minute? I've got someone else on the other line. Let me get them off the phone, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, you there?
Yes, sir. So the GoPac was founded on August of 2014, August 1st. And you were listed as the agent, along with later on a guy named David Satterfield. Are you familiar with that name? I can give you the FEC identification number if that helps.
David Satterfield. This is, let's see. I vaguely remember something about that, but I don't think it was very active from what I remember.
Well, it's been now transferred or changed into, it was supposed to be a local PAC, but it's now been converted to a PAC with a new name with the same exact number, C00536302, something called the Our American Century PAC. So we wanted to know.
Hold on. Let me get a pen and write that down.
Okay.
I mean, but to answer your question, I haven't had anything to do with that thing in years. It's called what now?
Well, it was called the GEAU PAC. It was set up at 201 St. Charles Avenue in New Orleans by apparently you, according to this document. Do you remember doing that? Do you recall doing that? This is the statement of organization we pulled.
Yeah, it was, from what I'll have to go back. And I forget what was going on in Louisiana.
Well, you were in office. You were in office. You were a representative here in the state of South Carolina. Is that not correct?
Correct.
From Anderson.
From 2000 to 2010.
Right. Correct. And so the GoPac was originally set up to help, I assume, local candidates because that's what it says. But from what I remember, I'm trying to kind of go back because I didn't have. Let's see. I'm trying to remember the girl's name. They asked me. Could it be Julie Emerson? Could it be Julie?
That name sounds familiar. Yes, that sounds familiar.
So Julie Emerson, you can say confidentially that was her name with certain degree of certainty.
I'm kind of. It sounds familiar.
Okay, but you can't say for certainty.
I can't say for certain because it's been so long ago, and I had.
Would she have been from Louisiana?
It would have the individuals that were involved with it would have been, because of the name, GEAUX. So
right.
But
you do remember setting this back up, correct? Or am I?
No, I didn't. I didn't set it up. I was asked to be listed, kind of head of it, but I had very little involvement in it, as obviously so, because I was. It took me a while to even remember the thing.
Okay.
But I do know, and it's called what now?
It's called.
You said the name had been changed.
Well, the FEC ID number on the GoPac is as follows: C005-32630. The FEC identification number on a PAC called Our American Century is the identical number. That can only exist for one. Our American Century. American Century. And I'll just ask you, because these are names that have been associated with this. Does the name Robert Cahaly ring a bell?
Yes, absolutely.
Was he involved in this GoPac?
Yes, I believe so. I believe he was involved in coordinating things from what I can remember.
So from what you can remember, Robert Cahaly was instrumental in coordinating the organization of the GoPack.
I don't know if he was instrumental, but I know that he was involved.
Okay.
Like I said,
Okay.
my involvement was so minuscule that I don't even remember the details of who did what and when and where.
Did you ever donate to this GoPack?
No.
Were you aware of the people who did donate to this GoPack at that time?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, so we're back. And
By the way, Dave, I must say I love that phone call. And we got. Do you have the other one too?
I do. We're gonna play it.
Okay, so I love those two phone calls. They're magic. They really are. They're
So
great.
Mr. Thompson says that Julie Emerson and Robert Cahaly were
Basically instrumental in setting up the GoPack, and
Yeah.
he remembers a little bit about it. After in the beginning, he said, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
So there was no money in this pack. I don't understand. There's very little going on. What happened to the Go Pack?
Somehow in 2017, well, not somehow, they filed papers with the Federal Election Commission. Now, there is one thing that we should mention here. These third-party PACs in South Carolina really don't even have to register with the Ethics Commission, because after the 2010 Citizens United, the Ethics Commission basically said, we have no authority over these anymore after that Supreme Court decision, South Carolina Ethics Commission. But Federal Election Commission still requires them to file each year. So in 2017, the GoPack filed a change of name. And that change of name was Our American Century PAC.
Huh.
So the GoPack morphed into the Our American Century PAC.
So when I call this guy, and you can hear him say it, y'all just heard it, he knows nothing about Our American Century. Not a thing.
And he probably doesn't, because he's probably been off it since he's been out of politics since around 2012.
Yeah.
Right?
Since 2010, he's been out 12 years.
Okay, he's been out 12 years. His name was listed as the director of the initial thing, the GoPack, and I bet he wasn't, to this day, he really doesn't know anything about that.
He doesn't, but he doesn't throw, I won't use that language. He doesn't throw Julie Emerson under the bus, but he says Julie Emerson was very involved. Who is Julie Emerson, and what is Lagniappe Communications?
Well, first of all, Lagniappe Communications is actually pronounced Lagniappe.
Okay, okay.
Okay?
It's French.
It comes from the French Creole,
okay,
Louisiana
okay,
heritage, you know.
Well, they clearly have,
and it's basically a Creole.
It's clearly something they've cooked up Creole.
No, I looked it up.
I'm serious.
Here's what it means.
They're cooking up something in Louisiana.
Well, Creole cooking is pretty darn good. I like that. If they're doing that, they can bring it up here. But if it's what other things they're cooking up, they can keep down there. But lagniappe means something a little extra.
Okay.
Like a baker's dozen. Well, there you go. Like the baker's dozen, like a 13th donut in a baker's dozen, and that a little bit of. That's what the tradition says. So you take a name that says lagniappe and communications, say, well, a little extra communications, and I'll buy that too.
Okay. So Julie Emerson, what role does she serve in state government in Louisiana?
She's a state house representative.
Okay. And does Julie Emerson, through what was her marketing company, does she buy and sell advertising? What does she do exactly?
Of course she does, because that back in the American Industry Project 2020 race, first thing I did one of the first things I did to trace down AIP was to go to the TV stations and the radio station and look at the public broadcasting form, PB18, which is required for any political advertising.
Correct.
Okay, so it tells you who made the ad by, and it tells you who it was for and who's guaranteeing payment. Okay?
Right.
And it was Julie Emerson buying the ads for the American Industry Project to hammer John Gallman. She bought the ads. She's the one that placed the ads with the various television stations.
And this was based on a story written by My Ori News, a guy named Christian Bosholt. Is that correct? Some of
not
the
really.
ads. Well,
I don't know who first brought that out. I know I think I was the first one to
You
get down
were.
to the TV stations and actually look at the public file. You know?
so the newspaper story actually came out a day after the ad.
That story.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So she's buying ads based on a supposed news story. Unfortunately, the news story that she's buying the ads for hasn't been written yet.
That's right.
Is that accurate?
She bought the ads. She bought the ad time the day before the story was published, and yet the published story was quoted in the ads, and you had pictures of different quotes out of it and that kind of thing. Now, and also I found out that the video, the master video for the TV spots was given to the TV stations 4 hours after the story was published. And I've checked with a couple of people that produce television political ads, and they said that time frame's not possible. So they knew what was going to be in the story before it came out. Yes.
So you're telling me that Julie Emerson's clairvoyant?
No,
Is that right?
I'm telling you there was advanced knowledge here. and here's where the problem really starts to come in, because even in South Carolina, if one of these third-party PACs has communication with the campaign, it's no longer it no longer can spend unlimited funds. We're now down into the same restrictions of campaign donations per election cycle as you and I are, okay? Because once it's coordinated, it's not separate anymore, and therefore it can't do what it wants. So they spent thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars on those ads and the mailers and all the stuff that was produced out of it. And yet, there is no way that Julie Emerson is making an ad buy for these ads the day before the story comes out that these ads are based on. There's no way.
You don't think she has ESP?
I don't think so.
But she probably subscribes to ESPN, though, I'm sure. No, that's a joke, guys. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't know if she's an athlete or not. But I mean, you know, it doesn't work. It's a joke.
Yeah.
But, so she's buying the ads, and the American Industry Project, and it's listed, the American Industry Project, and it's on 2020 PB forms for those ad buys that lists Tyler Servant as the approving officer for the American Industry Project approving payment. Okay. Now he claims that when this all blew up, he claimed that he didn't have anything to do with the American Industry Project beyond 2018, and maybe he didn't.
Okay. So, and he said that, and we took him at his word. So we called. He said, "Oh, this guy named Taylor."
Well, when they finally filed their Form 990s for 2020, then the 2018 990 form for American Industry Project lists Tyler as president. Okay, no question about that.
And then we
come to the 2020 form, which was filed after the campaign.
Okay.
And it lists Tyler said he didn't have anything to do with it after 2018, even though Julie Emerson put his name down as a guy that approved the payment.
I understand.
They come up with this guy, Bill Taylor.
Now, who is Bill Taylor?
Another South Carolina
Correct.
representative.
Okay, I'm going to stop you here because I called Bill Taylor. I thought, well, let's find out. Now, this is my initial call with Bill Taylor, and I'm going to play it for you right here.
I sent you a complaint that we received from a local gentleman named John Dahlman and his attorney. Apparently, you've been named as the head of a PAC. Are you the head of that PAC?
I read it. You don't have to explain to me. I read it.
Yeah.
First of all, you can quote me. It's laughable. I've never heard of the PAC. I'm not familiar with this lawsuit. I don't know the complainant in the lawsuit. Mysteries of the legal profession. I have absolutely no idea. I have no PAC, no relationship to a PAC. I don't know what else to tell you, except that when I read it, I was like, typical of lawyers, got it screwed up again. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's four
I
William
think
Taylors, but well, hold on a minute. I'm not finished. There's 4 William Taylors in Aiken County alone. So they don't say representative. They don't say William W. Taylor. So I don't know who it is, but if it's me, they've obviously done it in air, and I've never been notified nor served or anything else. So don't know anything about it. You're the first to tell me.
Okay, so we hear what Bill says here. I don't know anything about this. It's lawyer nonsense. Now, 16 minutes later, he calls me back, and here's what he says.
Let me ask you that, and I'm not sure of all the news services you work for over there, but is one of them a radio or audio, or where the audio gets in place someplace?
I work for Myrtle Beach SC News. We're a local 40,000 rep, local Horry County news outfit, and we this is an Horry County news story, obviously, because it's very of high interest in Horry County. And just so for the recorded purposes, I'm on the call with whom?
It's Bill Taylor, Representative Bill Taylor, Aiken.
And Bill, you just called me to give me an update that you are on the head of this American Industry Project. Well,
I am not the head of it. I'm a board member on it, and we have an executive director. It is not a PAC. Be very clear, it's a C4. A C4 is an political advocacy group that may take out advertising or other means to communicate to viewers, to constituents, to voters. But it's a C4, not a PAC.
Were you aware of the advertisements that were purchased as a part of the Luke Rankin campaign against John Dahlman through Emerson in I think it's Louisiana? Were you aware of those purchases?
No, the C4 has an executive director in that organization, the Louisiana firm, and therefore board members aren't privy to these strategic things that they do.
Can you tell me who that person would be by name? Can you tell me who that executive would be by name so I can contact them?
Well, I believe she's cited in the lawsuit.
Is that Julie Emerson? So
yes.
She's a part of this PAC as well?
I believe so, the way that works, yes. So
you're on the board.
I am on the board, yes. That's all. That's really about all I'm going to say at this point. And again, very clear, it is not a PAC. There is a very big difference between that and a C4.
You've made it clear that it's a C4. I'm very familiar with the C4. The Chamber of Commerce here in Myrtle Beach is a C4.
Yeah.
But,
okay. Well, that's
but
good.
What you're saying is you're not the head of the board. You're just on the board.
I believe so. I'm just on the board. No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so.
Would you know who the board chairman would be?
I actually don't at this point. So that's about all I can tell you. Again, thanks for all this news. I appreciate you providing it to me. I have a sense now better after asking some people about the lawsuit, and apparently this gentleman out there in your county likes to sue everybody that breathes and walks. So he's named everybody from Senator Rankin to anybody that may have looked sideways at him. So it will be interesting to see how that ever has any merit in court. But
would you like to make a comment about the complaint lists your banking arrangement here in Horry County with this particular bank? Would you like to comment on that?
Well, I don't know what you're talking of. What you're speaking of.
That you basically have a banking relationship with a bank here in our county. Is that true or untrue?
A banking relationship would
that you basically
personally have a banking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Well, I use CCNB in Aiken. It was Vista Bank. Yeah. Well, it was Vista Bank in Aiken. It happened to be acquired a few years ago by CCNB, but I was with Vista Bank, a local bank in Aiken that was purchased by them.
There you go. Well, that explains it then. That was another issue. I was going to ask if you had been on the board, which it turns out you are. Okay. Well.
Well, no, in the the Vista Bank thing was, I was sort of a founding shareholder in that, but one of many. And when they first formed in Aiken a number of years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so, and then they were purchased by CCNB. So I just hadn't, moved my accounts and all of that.
I understand. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
you really have helped me because you've saved me from having to look for 6, 7, 8, 9 other people with your name.
Yeah.
So
Really no.
And
I, honest to gosh, I when realized that there was an error, I'm a factual guy myself. I'm very forthright, a transparency guy. So when I realized that I'd spoken in error, I wanted to call you back and correct it because you don't need to be doing that. I mean, we do the right stuff. Okay.
Appreciate it so much.
All right. Now, glad to do it.
Do you have a personal relationship with Julie Emerson? Are y'all very good friends, or is that just all business?
No. She's. I've used her as a business associate to develop my website.
Would you say that your relationship is friendly, or is it just business?
Well, it's business. I mean, I just hired her and paid her to develop my website.
I understand.
Yeah,
makes perfect sense. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. You're welcome. Bye.
Okay, Paul, how do you make sense out of this? What happened in 16 minutes?
He called Julie Emerson and said, "What's going on?"
Or maybe Robert Cahaly.
But I got to say, that's pure guess on my part.
He called somebody.
He called somebody to say, "What is? I just had this phone call. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm listening to this. What do you know about this?" Because I think what's happened is they got a little sloppy when they were setting these different things up, and they just put people that they represented as the head of this and the head of that. That's my guess.
Okay, so you talked about how Our American Century jumped in and basically beat up our current chairman, Horry County Council Chairman, Johnny Gardner, at the last minute. So Mark Lazarus is somehow, in some way, somebody thought enough of this local race to take Our American Century PAC and spend monies here in Horry County.
Yes.
Do you think the donors that were donating to Our American Century had any idea they'd use the money in that kind of way?
No. Well, let me take that back. The big donors.
I'm talking about the $7 million, the $2.5 million.
I don't think so. Now, is that the money that was used, or was money bundled locally? Say $100,000 bundled locally, or $50,000 even bundled locally, and then a call was made. Have you got a PAC that you can use? We need these ads run.
So that could have happened.
Of course it could have. We'll never know, No, the guys that donated for Our American Century to promote Trump and go against Biden and to promote Mehmet Oz in the Pennsylvania 2020 Senate race, to promote Katie Arrington against Nancy Mason, to promote Russell Fry against Tom Rice, to promote, well, they didn't promote anybody, but they ran negative ads on the lady that was a senator from Missouri.
Claire McCaskill?
Yes, they ran negative ads against her. When did she get beat? In 2018, I think?
It's been a while ago.
Yeah, in the 2018 thing, they ran ads against her. They played in a Kansas House race, and that's just stuff I picked up.
Okay, so getting back to,
But again, you got a PAC that plays on the national scene. It plays in the presidential race of 2020. It plays in some high-profile Senate races.
Trump. It plays in the Trump politics. Does it
not?
It
totally does. Yes, and I almost guessed that with the notoriety that Cahaly got in 2016 for the polling, that he did.
That's where his claim to fame came from.
Yeah, and he was doing polling for the Trump campaign, and yes, he predicted, or claims he predicted, his polling showed a Trump victory. Of course, Trump won. So he got a little notoriety, and I think that's how he started, because it seems like it's only after that
things really took
That's why
off.
they changed their name
Right.
in 2017. Beginning of 2017, they changed their name, and he had probably made contacts through working kind of with the Trump campaign in do polling for the Trump campaign. He probably made contacts to get big money donors,
Right.
and also to get involved in national, what I call federal races, the House, Senate, or of course President. He made contacts. Well, that's the way business works, you know.
But let me say this in defense of
What I
Mr.
don't understand is how all that contact stuff all of a sudden decided that the Horry County Council chairman race was on some kind of equivalent level as Mehmet Oz or Donald Trump. That's a little bit insane to me.
Well, in defense of Mr. Cahaly, he doesn't profit on any of this stuff, does he? He doesn't charge these PACs any monies, does he?
No. He provides.
You're reporting.
All he does is provide goods and services. In 2020, he got paid $1,001,000 from the Our American Century PAC.
Okay.
In 2018, and not only did he get paid $1,001,000 from on a form, that was a Federal Election Commission filing that I saw that, or it might have been a Form 9. I can't remember which form it was right now. But Julie Emerson or Lanyap Communications got $108,000.
Well, that would be something a little extra, wouldn't it? Okay.
A little extra for her.
Okay, so you've pointed out, you've shown that Luke Rankin is in the epicenter of this. He's a local Horry County state senator. You've now tied Mark Lazarus into it. Russell Fry, is he somehow in the mix here, or?
Well, they Our American Century ran ads for Russell Fry and against Tom Rice in that campaign. They ran ads for Katie Arrington and against Nancy Mason in the South Carolina House District 1 race.
Okay.
Okay, so they were certainly promoting, and Mehmet Oz in the Pennsylvania Republican primary of 2020. So they were promoting whoever Donald Trump was endorsing. They were involved in running ads for that person and against the prime contenders and that kind of thing.
Okay, so we pointed out where really and truly Bill Taylor and this Thompson guy, these representatives, and one former representative, were pretty much patsies or stooges in this operation.
No, they weren't involved with Our American Century, remember that?
They were involved with GO, though. They were involved with GO and the other one with the SCIP.
That's right. One with
But
GO, one with
bottom
the American
line is
Institute.
Cahaly is involved in all of this, and they were pretty much patsies in their different setups.
Well, the let me think now. Foundation for Long Government PAC. The Foundation for Long Government PAC pays Gadsden and Green a management fee. Yeah.
And who is Gadsden Green again? I forget.
Cahaly. That's one of Cahaly's companies.
So Cahaly's milking this thing 7 ways to Sunday. Now, we've proven that a lot of these reps, though, that set up these different PACs for Cahaly aren't overly informed. Now, I want to get local, though. How informed do you think Tyler Servant is on this mess? Is he a patsy that, because we know that he wrote some checks to a certain business, which is going to come out, and you haven't written about this yet.
No,
but we're aware that he wrote some checks. Is he a patsy?
I don't know.
Well, his daddy, just so you know, Tyler's dad, his name is Mill Servant. He runs a business in Surfside Beach. He's on the board of something called the Grand Strand Business Alliance. What is the Grand Strand Business Alliance?
It's an organization set up to promote business on the Grand Strand. It draws most of its funding for its political side. It runs 4 PACs itself, the Grand Strand Business Alliance, and most of the funding for those PACs comes from its association with the Myrtle Beach Chamber.
So hold on, wait a minute. Let me get this right. The Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce has 4 PACs. As associated with 4 PACs, has 4 sister PACs.
Well, you know, the Grand Strand Business Alliance got, was it 10 or 15%? I forget.
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure.
It was either 10 or 15% of the dues and the money that cost to be on their website.
Okay.
That was billed by the chamber.
Let me get into
that.
this.
That money went straight to the Grand Strand Business Alliance for its political thing.
So I've researched this. So
Brad Dean admitted that to me.
Yeah, and so here's the way it works. I'm the chamber. I get a $51 million tax gift from tourists called the Tourism Development Fee, the TDF. I get $51 million in tax dollars that I spend on promoting the city of Myrtle Beach. I then turn around and I go to my members who are hotel owners, property managers, and I say, you can be on our website as part of our promotions. It'll cost you $22,000 per property per year. Plus you have to give $2,000 to these packs, 2001 and 2000 the other. You can pick the two packs you want to give to. So more or less, a law that was written by Luke Rankin and Alan Clemens to fund the Chamber of Commerce, basically a private-public partnership with the city of Myrtle Beach, brings in $51 million, and they turn around and they sell that tax gift. And when they sell that tax gift, they get two things. One is they get money into their private business account. They convert tax dollars into private dollars. Number two, they collect money for political action committees. Now, once again, Mill Servant sits on the board of the Grand Strand Business Alliance. His son Tyler, his fingerprints are all over this stuff. I mean, am I wrong? Say I'm wrong.
Well, his name is certainly all over some things there, yes.
Okay. So, just so you know how all this works, this is national to local and local to national. And I will say what I've seen. They're moving money from one pack to the other pack to the other pack, and the donors have no idea. These big donors, and guys, just so you know, this guy Eshelman in Wilmington just gave $100 million to the University of North Carolina. He gave $7 million. He gave $2.5 million at a different time. He's suing, wanting his money back in one of these gifts. We're not going to get into that here. We will later on. So, we've now shown you that this is a local to national connection, and it runs from Atlanta or South Carolina to Atlanta, or Atlanta to South Carolina to
Washington to Alexandria, Virginia to Louisiana to
Cheyenne, Wyoming,
and
Provo, Utah to Oak Street in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Those are facts. Now, this wasn't in your article, but I'm going to ask, and you can say, David, I don't want to comment because I know you're still investigating this. Did any of your investigations uncover issues around a guy named Michael Melendez, who is the vice chairman of Libertas and Free Speech Unites?
Michael Melendez claims on his own CV that he was intimately involved with the 2015 Tyler Servant campaign for the South Carolina House.
That's Tyler Servant, Mill Servant's son, who is on the Grand Strand Business Alliance associated with the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber. Okay.
Melendez used to work for Cahaly.
So, Melendez has operations at a house located at 1712 Pioneer Avenue in Cheyenne, Wyoming. 10 years ago, a very great journalist, I would put her on par, they're good journalists, I'd put them on par with Paul, uncovered that there were 2,100 corporations operating out of this address. Now, her name, I talked with her yesterday, and she's with Reuters, or she was, she's now moved on, but her name is Kelly Carr, and she is just a whiz-bang, top shelf. They couldn't figure out what the top piece was. They couldn't figure out who was running this whole mind game, for lack of a better word. Melendez is now also associated with paperless campaigns. Now, did you any of your research lead you to find out about any information about something called paperless campaigns?
You mean the fact that some of Tyler Servant's ethics filings disclosure forms show that he sent money to paperless campaigns?
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, and that basically, and this is facts, our American Century has sent money to paperless campaigns.
That is a fact.
Do you happen to know who runs paperless campaigns?
I'm not 100% positive because I've never actually seen a 990 or what have you, but my gut tells me with the people involved that Cahaly's in there somewhere.
Okay.
And Melendez, I'm sure.
Okay.
Or maybe even Kusar.
Paperless Campaigns operates out of Provo, Utah, 575 North Seven Peaks Boulevard, number 28. This is also a Melendez address, guys. It doesn't get any sweeter. Now, we've all heard about Soros, and we've all heard about, what the left does. And you say to yourself, well, David, isn't Soros and that crowd isn't this just more of the same? Let me ask you this. Look at the people, for the most part in this state, that this group, this nest, is championing. Tell me how many conservatives are in the group. This is not a Republican organization. This is about money, not about Republican politics. There's a joke in South Carolina. The insiders call it Rhino-Lina because we elect so many rhinos. This is why. This is why. The money behind these guys, they don't want real conservatives in office because real conservatives will put a stop to this. Real conservatives would probably do away with open primaries. If you want to understand why this is important in our community, here's why. Because most of you, and I'm not picking on you, but most of you guys don't vote in the primary. You wait for the general. If you wait for the general in this state, it's done.
Well, if you wait for the general in this county,
it's done. You've already got right now, Russell Fry is going to win this fall. He won the primary. Right now, Johnny Gardner's going to win this fall. He won the primary. If you don't vote the Republican primary, you missed it. And that someone cares enough about this, somebody, and they're making money on it, obviously. Would you say this is tens of millions of dollars? 2,100 corporations working out of one little office?
Lord, I can't begin to guess on the scope of that.
Yeah. Could be hundreds of millions.
Who knows? I mean,
but I will say this to those people involved, and they are battening down the hatches, trying to quickly, now that Paul's article's out, they're trying to quickly seal as many doors as possible. Well, I think this is a national news story.
Let me say one other little thing that again, tweaked my interest. In the first quarter filing of Our American Century to the Federal Election Commission, one donor was listed. That's it. $350,000 was the amount. Now they have leftover money from past years, and that donor was Steve Wynn.
Tell us who Steve Wynn is.
Since Sheldon Adelson died, he is the big guy in casinos in Las Vegas. He always was.
So he's the casino guy from Vegas. Why would a casino guy from Vegas be interested in Horry County politics?
Well, this is interesting, and I don't know if you're aware of this. You aware of the Wall Street Journal article that came out a couple days ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I want you to tell our readers.
There was a group from the Catawba Indian tribe that wanted to open a casino in South Carolina. That was the idea. This is back about 2012 or 2014. I think it's around 2014. It was about the time of Nikki Haley's re-election, second term for governor, that this stuff started to come out. They wanted to build a casino in South Carolina. And that one that was basically up in the Rock Hill area. The General Assembly would not approve gambling in the state, okay? Casino style gambling in the state. Now, yeah, we got casino boats that go out a little river, but they have to go out beyond the 12-mile limit before they can open up the tables and stuff. Do it in international waters. It's kind of a joke, but that's the way it is. So the General Assembly would not pass this, would not approve for a gambling commission to be set up.
Who was pushing that on the General Assembly side? You ever heard of a guy named Todd Rutherford?
Of course, yeah, Rutherford was one, but he wasn't the only one. But
who is he? Tell us who Todd Rutherford is.
He's a Democratic leader.
He's the black Democratic leader of the House of Representatives. Is that accurate?
That's right.
He also sits on something called the JMSC. Is that true? I believe he does. In fact, I'm certain he does. Along with Luke Rankin. What does the JMSC do in this state?
They approve judges.
Okay. Continue, Paul.
All right. So anyway, after it was not possible for South Carolina, the Catawbas said, okay, well, we want to do it in North Carolina. We'll do it in North Carolina and just over the border. Still the same geographical area attraction, right?
Right.
But the Cherokees, the Eastern Cherokees, already had 2 casinos. They were fighting this. Well, Lindsey Graham introduced a bill to allow another Indian casino, and introduced a bill in the federal Congress to allow a third Indian casino in North Carolina, and I'm not even sure it's an Indian casino. It may be a real. The Catawbas have an interest, but it may be run not as a special Indian project, but just a general casino. I don't know which way it goes. Anyway, then the Cherokees filed suit, and then Jim Clyburn introduced a bill in the.
Tell us who Jim Clyburn is.
He's the lone Democratic member of the U.S. House of Representatives from the South Carolina delegation.
And he's really powerful in the.
Well, he's the third-ranking Democrat in the House, and their side of the House delegation.
He's right behind Pelosi. He's right.
Well, there's Pelosi and then somebody else who I forget right now, and then there's Clyburn.
There's Clyburn.
He's big time. He's been up there 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, but he introduced a bill to prevent the suit from going forward in the House, and okay, so the Wall Street Journal comes up with this article just a couple days ago. There's a federal investigation into, I think it's called the Two Kings Casino Management Operation in North Carolina, and they're building this casino. They have casino set up in temporary facilities now, or at least
correct.
Slot machines and
right.
what have you, but not the full casino yet. That's under construction. There's a federal investigation into how some shares got into the hands of politicians' families.
Wow. From
the Two Kings Casino Management Group.
Amazing.
Okay?
Shocked. I tell you, I am shocked.
They are investigating how shares wound up with Jim Clyburn's brother.
Huh. Interesting.
With Nikki Haley's husband.
Michael Haley.
Then Butch Bowers, which I don't understand how he even got involved in that.
Tell us who Butch Bowers is.
He's the genius, the South Carolina political genius attorney who came down here and to represent Mark Lazarus in the protests against the election results in Horry County here this last time, and managed to file the whole protest one day late, thereby eliminating the whole thing. I mean,
he's a South Carolina attorney, correct?
He's a South
Carolina. He represents the entire South Carolina Republican Party.
Well, he represents the state Republican Party, and proudly brags that he's done it for 20 years. Then he in order to protest an election, he files the whole thing one day late, negating it to begin with. I mean, that was just stupid. But Butch Bowers and a girl by the name of, not a girl, she's 56, a woman by the name of Patty Solis Doyle, who was described in the Wall Street Journal article as a Democratic political operative.
Interesting.
Well, what is interesting is I looked up Patty Solis Doyle, okay? She was the 1992 assistant to Hillary Clinton in Bill Clinton's first presidential race.
Wow.
She ran Hillary Clinton's 2000 and 2006 senatorial races in New York. She was the first campaign manager for when Hillary tried the 2008 Democratic nomination for president. She was replaced after Hillary came in third, behind both Barack Obama and John from North Carolina. What was his name?
Oh yeah, the one that I know. He's the guy with the haircut.
Yeah,
and the girlfriend and all that.
Hillary came in third out of three in the Iowa caucuses, so she got rid of Doyle and was somebody else. And within a short period of time, Doyle was picked up by the Obama campaign to be a senior consultant for the 2008 presidential run. Okay,
Wow.
So she is not a Democratic political operative. She plays at the top end of the stick and
Okay.
has for 30 years.
And so does Clyburn. And so
Clyburn-
does Graham. Now you mentioned Lindsey Graham. It looks like Lindsey Graham and Jim Clyburn are playing on the same team. Is that real?
It's always been thought so, hasn't it?
And they're wearing different uniforms. But they're supposedly Clyburn's a big time Democrat and Graham's a big time Republican, right?
Yeah, but
Now-
you know,
now,
both get big time donations from Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce.
They
don't
do. And let me ask you this, because I'm just curious. What political operative represents Lindsey Graham?
Quinns.
Oh, the Quins. We're circling right back to the same set of names. The Quins who worked with Cahaly to do this, who I won't say work with, the Quins who were in the middle of this whole maelstrom that Cahaly started with AIP and SCIP
And the
when-
Rankin
and
campaign.
Rankin. So, folks, do you see how the money and the power and the influence and this whole left-right thing? Come on, man. If Lindsey Graham's a conservative, I mean, really, he might be a military hawk. I'll give him that. He might be. But I would not say he's a conservative. There's nothing conservative about him.
I'm not sure that Lindsey's very hawkish either.
Well, he says that's what his claim to fame is.
That's fine.
And whether it's true or not, we'll leave that.
But here's the point, and then Our American Century has this recent donation from Steve Wynn. You know, and there's been talk about wanting to get a casino down here in Horry County. You know that
Forever.
for 20 years.
Well, they've lobbied. They've actually gone to Columbia
yeah.
and lobbied, much like they've lobbied for I-73.
That's right.
They haven't had success yet because the upstate, places like Greenville and Gaffney and Oconee and Rock Hill, they don't want it. They don't want gambling in our state. So that's where they're running into the headwinds.
They are, but it's been 1 year, and I just wonder if some group that's still very interested in getting gambling here in Horry County was behind this whole business of getting Our American Century involved in the Horry County Council chairman race. Because if there's going to be a casino, it's going to require the consent of the county council, at least in some kind of zoning change or what have you.
Correct.
At least that.
And they want I-73 too, so they want that 1-2. It'd be a 1-2.
And so I think, you know, getting a county chairman was key to some plans, I believe, and it didn't work out.
Correct. So, but what we do know, that's conjecture, but what we do know is Cahaly, Melendez, servants' fingerprints are all over all of this stuff.
Julie Emerson.
Julie Emerson, oh yeah, we can name them all. But so,
Julie Emerson also placed ads, in addition to placing ads for the American Industry Project, she placed ads for Our American Century too.
oh, absolutely.
I mean,
There was a guy named
PBA.
Comio.
Yeah, Julie Emerson placed the ads in Pennsylvania and Kansas and that kind of stuff. I think after the business kind of blew up a bit with the Rankin campaign, they wanted to keep her name out of local, so they used Chris Como, but Chris Como tracks right back to Louisiana. He's listed as one of the if I recall correctly, he's listed as one of the 4 officers that first set up the Go Pack. So I mean,
It's a joke.
It's a joke.
It's a circular joke. And once again,
But he bought the ads for Lazarus or against Johnny Gardner for Our American Century in this recent
Louisiana guy.
Louisiana.
Very concerned about Horry County politics.
Should be. I mean, my goodness, isn't everybody concerned about Horry County politics?
So, if you feel like you've been drinking from a fire hydrant, you have. There's a lot here. But don't worry. This story has legs. It is not finished being told yet. We're going to continue to cover it. Paul, I'm sure that you'll probably do a follow-up at some point, sometime. And I believe that the national news audience is going to, based on conversations I had yesterday with multiple national outlets who covered different pieces of this, it'll just be a matter of when some investigative journalist from a national news organization drops this too. So hang in there. This is going to get really interesting. We've got the fall elections coming up. What role a handful of people say or have say in our politics is your business. A couple of big fat cats moving money around all across America, affecting elections with messaging is your concern. And the way to fix all this is to A, be informed, but B, to vote in the primary. The primary is primary. The word primary means something. It's instrumental, it's central, it's first. So with that said, we will see you next week. We're not going to run Sunday. This is the Sunday broadcast. We're getting it out to you early because I feel like this was one of the most impactful articles written in the last good while. You did a great job, Paul.
Thank you, Dave.
Kudos, man. Hard work, and you did phenomenal.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, have a blessed day.